Dear Tafadzwa Taruvinga's book, The Educated Waiter, Memoir of an African Immigrant, generated quite a buzz in the country's literary space. With effortless storytelling grip, Tafadzwa candidly opens up and shares some interesting parts of his life, and one of them being a foreign student in South Africa trying to fend for himself by finding alternative means such as working as a waiter to pay for his tuition. Well, he joins me this morning to tell us more about the journey of being an immigrant, a waiter and graduate, as he shares it in this moving and at times hilarious book. Tafadzwa, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Smpiwe. Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the decision to share your experience of being an immigrant and a student and a waiter in South Africa and trying to find a life or a better life in different parts of the world, including South Africa. How has that journey been?
Well, it's been tough. I decided to write this story because I felt that it needed to be heard, firstly, but also it resonates with the stories of different people from all walks of life. Students who are struggling to raise tuition or sustenance money to keep going in their studies, waiters or people who are working as waiters who shouldn't be, people who are educated and they should be working in different jobs, people who are working as Uber drivers. It also speaks, as you rightly say, to the story of migrants, not only in South Africa, but across the globe. And we know that migration is a topical issue at the moment. So I felt it was relevant and that it's a story that, yes, that needed to be heard.
Yeah, no doubt at all. Now take us through, or rather take us back to 2002 when you first enrolled for that economics degree at the Rhodes University and the kind of struggles that you and your mom went through, you know, with regards to your tuition fees.
It was a difficult time, not only for myself, but for a lot of other students. At the time, I was enrolled to study for an economics degree at Rhodes University. And as you rightly say, I had a tough time trying to fund my studies. And so one of the opening chapters in the book, I'm actually in a lecture, and I'm struggling to concentrate on the economics lecture because my skin itches. And my skin itches because I've taken a shower with sunlight dishwashing liquid because I don't have money for soap.
Wow.
And this is the reality of students. And of course, in 3 weeks' time, universities across the country will be opening, and students are a lot of students are scratching their heads trying to figure out how they are going to survive. So it's a reality for a lot of people.
And I guess one of the most profound facets of your life story is the kind of struggles that your mom went through. I mean, the struggles of a single mother raising a boy child who's trying to make a living.
Yes, it is. And that's another facet to the story. It doesn't only speak about me as a graduate or as a migrant.
Yeah.
It also speaks about me as a son raised by a single mother, which is as you rightly put it, difficult. It's different for a father to raise a son compared to a mother raising a son. And I talk about the dynamics there. I talk about the partnership that there is between myself and my mother, trying to go through the motions. I talk about the lessons that I learned from my mother. I talk about the challenges that she has faced herself that I've learned from. And this is what takes me through some of my own struggles. Her resilience ends up being a source of inspiration for me.
You also explores such themes as inequality, poverty, xenophobia in this book. I mean, how do these themes find expression in this book insofar as expressing your own life story?
They are pertinent to modern society, not only in South Africa. The issues of racism are global. The issues of xenophobia, the issues of displacement, issues around the integration of migrants into the different sects of society. So I talk about these serious issues, but in quite a creative way that challenges people to think about them at a personal level. How does my story convert to someone being more compassionate towards another person, regardless of color or nationality? And this is, of course, as we would see from recent history, in South Africa and other parts of the world, this is a topic or issue that certainly needs to be discussed further. And of course, in this way, my book serves as a foundation for these sorts of discourse.
Yeah. So are you formally employed? Do you run your own business now?
I do. I consult across the region, training. I partner with organizations in the private sector and in the public sector to train different skills development courses. I really feel passionately about people development. And because of my own struggles, I know how it's difficult for people to find their way, be it in the corporate space or wherever. And so part of my objective is to impart what I've learned and to help to use it to help other people within the communities where they are.
Just in wrapping, Tafadzwa, I mean, I quite take your point that you mentioned that this book will serve as a foundation for beating all the odds. Now, as it is the beginning of the academic year, I would imagine so many Tafadzwas out there who are trying to hustle their way to university, well, when the situation doesn't really allow it. So what's your advice to those?
The biggest lesson I've learned from my own experiences is that, firstly, that it's important for you to believe in your own goals, to believe in your own dreams, so much so that even in the face of obstacles, that you have to keep going. That it's going to be tough, and this is a message particularly to students across the board, that it's going to be tough, that it's going to be to tempt one to give up. But when that happens, it's particularly important to listen to the inner voice that says you have to keep going. I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned, to never stop, no matter how difficult it gets.
And the fact that you ate Nora soup and Kellogg's cornflakes crushed together as a basic meal for the day, but still it kept you going. You kept moving and moving. Tafadzwa, thank you, man. Thank you so much for that kind of inspiration.
Thank you
really
very much.
needed it.
Thank you.
Well, there we have it. That was Rhodes University economics graduate Tafadzwa Taruvinga. We're just in conversation with him about his journey that he candidly shared in his book, The Educated Waiter, the memoir of an African immigrant. Well, this is Morning Live. It is 17 before 8 o'clock. Let's take a short break.